Yeah. So good afternoon, everyone. Imran and Noesh. So these are all my team members, and we are demonstrating about the team project 2 for operating FTP on web server and Ubuntu. So we have some few tasks are there in this one. We have completed in this project. First one is the FTP server installation on Ubuntu Linux. Another one is the download and upload the files via command line to the FTP server. To connect to the install Ubuntu via SSH, that's the third one, and we have a install web server on Ubuntu. And the one is we are creating the website for the team, and we are provide the team information about the person names and the photos and those details. So another one is a well-written project report, and the one is a team presentation currently we are doing. So coming to first one, so we have installed FTP server on Ubuntu. We followed the reference one, and we completed the FTP server. So here we have one issue with while installing the FTP server. There is some network security, so we need to change to the bridge network. So here, so once let me open that one. Yeah. So once we are continue the steps which are followed by in this document team project 1. So 1 second, let me go to that one. Yeah. So this is one. So here we need to use the first thing we need to do is update the Ubuntu repositories, because so we suppose if you are not updated that one, if you want to install VSFPTD, then it will automatically install, but it's not the latest version. So we need to update the repository, and then we'll start the installation of our applications in the Ubuntu server. So after doing everything, all these steps, if you're going through everything, and then we need to here the main part is here we need to whatever the configuration files which are there in VSFPD, so we need to take the backup of that one, and we have and we need to create we need to add the like these are the lines which are related to the configuration files which are given in the reference one. So these we need to take the backup of that one for like that move like command, and then once we added these our I mean these are all the lines which are given. So save these lines in your file, okay, and then go to the and followed by the remaining steps here. And once everything is done, it will ask for the once you set up the configuration files which is there in the reference, and then you can restart the VSFPD services, and then you can start creating the FTP user. So you can start creating the FTP user like this sudo user add -m FTP like that. I mean, this is my username FTP Venkat, and it will ask for the password, sudo password you need to give, and then it will ask for the strong password. You can give whatever the strong password you require, and then this is how we can connect to the FTP server, FTP 121.0.0.1. So like this is the command line. We can connect to the FTP server, and once you connected that one, so here I'm able to connect to the server. You can see from my mission as well. So here I'm connected successfully, and then yeah, I connected successfully. That's a task 1. And coming to the task 2, we need to upload and download the files from the FTP server FTP server via command line. So for this one, we use the put command and get command. To put used for I mean, we need to upload the file to the FTP server, and we need to download the file from the FTP server. So in my work experience, I gone through this one FTP server in the GUI. We not use any command line at the time. We have GUI there. We provide all the username, password, and FTP IP address and everything. There we used to have Oracle applications there. We need to transfer our data files. Sometimes the source files will be there. Then we need to use that one for data warehousing purpose. So for that purpose, we use this file transfer protocol. So put command. So this one, it will ask for the local file path. So give the local file path, local file name as well, and then it will ask the remote file name. So this is the test dot this is the file name I want to give for this file. So once you've done that one, it will prompt like the transfer complete. These are the bytes it has been transferred. So I'm downloading the same file from the server. So I'm just using the get, I'm using the test.odt, and then I'm transferring into my local machine. So this is my local file. I want to give a name this one, and then file transfer, everything is completed, and the same byte, this is the bytes which has been come across. So that's all for the task 2. And coming to task 3. So this is about the SSH. So we need to connect the Ubuntu via SSH. So this is one also secured one. We can transfer the files from our Windows machines to the Ubuntu machines by using the SSH. You don't need to connect to the access. We don't need to connect to the Ubuntu server. We can access from Windows machine from the command line itself by using the by running this one. So SSH, we need to use the username, and this is the IP address which is there from the Ubuntu. So we need to provide like that username Venkat at the rate this one. And once we connected everything, so we are able to see the Ubuntu connection here. So this is a list of the files which are there in the home directory in the Ubuntu. And this is how my username which I used for which server we connected to the Ubuntu. So this is my username Venkat. So that's all for task 3. And coming to task. So coming to task 4, installing web server on Ubuntu. So for this one, professor has given good references. These references has given reduced a lot of time. This was a lot of the effect. The lot of things are there in this reference. If you follow this one, you can definitely get. We can solve these every issues, everything. So from the reference 3, we install the Apache. So we documented that one here, and we documented SSH as well. Yeah, I missed one part, and this is the block diagram which we used, which we represent the FTP. Okay, and these are tasks too for put and get, and this is one SSH. This is a task 3. So we need to change that name. So this one is a install web server on Ubuntu. So we used the Apache. So we installed, first thing we updated the as usual repositories, and then we installed and we followed the reference 3, and we need to allow the Apache because since it has to work on the web server. So we need to allow that one. And once it is allowed everything, and we need to check the status by checking like this command sudo systemctl status. Otherwise we'll go use the host IP address, and then we'll directly click on the web server. Then it could be show you like this. I mean in the web Apache default page. So that's task 3. I mean that's a task 4, and coming to task 5. So so this part everything has been completed. Mostly everything has been completed by the Imran, and this documentation has been done by him, and HTML and everything. And this is how we have documented, and this is how we are able to access from our mission. So the same thing we followed from the reference 3. So there is some followed there info.net. So for that place, we used our HTML code and HTML syntaxes, everything, and then we are able to open our website like this. So this is how we done, and we placed our code. Everyone we placed code in the same place which is there. We created for the Apple16 dot. So I created here. So I created here itself, and it may be here in the syntax, might be that maybe, but So I cannot able to show you, it's a long code. So, but you can see completed everything, and just after doing everything from the reference 3 for the domain creation, and just we used our images to show, and we used our email addresses and what are the masters we are doing. So Imran is doing in computer science, and Nosh is doing cyber security, and as I'm doing computer science. So this is my team name, Apple16. It's a project name, team project 2. It's a project, my team name, Apple16. So that's all. And coming to team. So this is how we've done the documentation. So we have some few issues. We documented those things here. So that's all from my side. So I think one of my team member will continue the remaining part. So please continue, Nosh.
Yes, hi. So after setting up the FTP server, we learned how to do that, to set it up in Linux and using the latest version, Ubuntu 20.04, and we're using the command. We connected it by using the command line interface and loopback address. We learned how to connect to via SSH. The references that the professor provided were very helpful in completing these tasks. So, as Venkat mentioned about the FTP server, after setting up the FTP server and making sure that it works, we had to connect to our host server with the SSH. And as you can see, we had it all documented. After that, once we were successfully able to connect with the SSH, we would move down to installing web server on our Ubuntu Linux. And for this purpose, we were using Apache 2 to download that. And we went through a very detailed process. It was long in installing and configuring Apache 2. Then it gave us the ability to set up on our virtual machines. So we used reference 3 for that, and as you can see, all the command lines were listed here for FTP, and then I can say here reference 3 for installing Linux Hunt. So this installing and configuring Apache web server on our virtual machine allowed us to set up multiple domains on the web server. We learned a lot about the opening ports and firewalls, and for the purpose of communication. And all these command lines were listed here that we would use on our virtual machine in Ubuntu. And after going through the process, we had to make sure that our web server was active and running. And for that, we had our command host name. We had actually 2 ways to do it. Either we could just use this command sudo system ctl status apache 2, or we could use our host name /i, and that would give us the IP address. And after we get that, we could use that IP address, and we could place this here in the web browser on our virtual machine on Ubuntu, and this page would pop up, which highlights over here. It works. So that means that our Apache 2 web server is successfully working. So once we configured this part, we were able to move forward to HTML, and for the purpose of creating a website on here. And we were able to create our own personalized website with the list of all our team members. Here we had the files collected when everyone uploaded their own images, and this was the end result. We had the website ready here with Imran and myself, and I think this is just for general information, the web source of page source of our website, and we all had our information stated here, which was helpful in creating successfully creating our team website here. And that was after going through all those tasks of setting FTP, connecting with SSH, and installing Apache, making sure Apache works, web servers. This was a great learning experience, and we without without any hesitation, there were some issues when we were creating the HTML website, but we tackled through it, and end result was great. And I think Imran can discuss more about it for this purpose.
Thanks very much, Venkat. So I will start sharing my screen. Please pardon the mess in the room. So let me share my screen. So thanks, Venkat, and my team members were very good in this presentation, and they all of them did all of the work. So that was really good. All the tasks were done by everyone. So I will just start with some of the issues that we had in the FTP, and I will go over some of the background information that I learned actually. So FTP is a client server application, but I learned that it can be used in two modes. One is active and passive, and passive is the latest one, which allows port numbers greater than 1024 to be used for security. So here is some information that I just mentioned, but unless I could not use the active mode, so I had to use the passive mode to get it done. So that is one thing that we learned, and this is some information, basic information about the web servers. They use HTTP protocol, and they usually listen on the port 80, and the URL, as we know, that is consists of a protocol, HTTP, the web server, and it consists of the path of the file or resource on the web server. So this is just an example. And we also interestingly learned that there's a precise syntax of this request and response. So for example, the request has this command, and then the resource, and then the protocol. So that was interesting. And yes, so we learned some HTML also, and we learned all these tags like pre-tag, paragraph tag, heading tags, and we used a little bit of CSS to just make it a little bit presentable. So as I mentioned, we all did all of the tasks, and so I was not probably sharing it correctly. So let me show you the so this is, I'm logged into my machine, and on the VM, I'm in an FTP session. And for example, I just started it again. And just a little while ago, I had used the passive and the binary mode to transfer the image of Navush to the VM. And similarly, currently I'm connected to the VM using SSH. So let's try again. And now I'm connected to the VM, and I can go to the web host and see all these files that we had for the website. So yeah, I was just mentioning that all of us did all of these tasks which helped to fix some of the errors. And I'll mostly talk about the HTML part because the rest is explained by Venkat and Navosh. So let's go to the website part. It's a long document. Yeah, so it's a very simple website. We just have a header which just explains some tags that can be used by search engine, and we just added a simple style sheet, and we use the Twitter Bootstrap for styling and aligning the tags. And these container rows and column classes, they come from the Bootstrap, and the rest like h1, heading, and div, they are basic HTML ones. So we just have our names, our emails, and what department we are working at, studying in, and our image. And this is just a simple style CSS styling. We change the body and headings. So just change the font size, change the font color, added a little bit space and the font family. And these are the tags we used. So just some description of the tags. And I will talk a little bit more about the learnings or the issues we saw. So that was very good experience learning the HTTP protocol a little bit and FTP, and basically passive mode and configuring the FTP was a good learning experience. And of course, HTML tags was really helpful to learn all these. So initially we had, as you know, the virtual machine opens in a small box, so we had to increase the size. And the FTP passive mode that I explained, we had to struggle a little bit with it, but after we figured it out. And without this styling, the page did not look good, very good. It was all very basic and all messed up. So when we add a little bit of alignment and these columns, so it looks a little bit better. So that is all explained here. And yeah, these are the references that we had, and this is the contribution. Everyone worked on all the tasks, but we contribute differently to the document. And I think that's what probably I have. I can show you here also. So yeah, it took a little bit time to log into this virtual machine, but this is the web page that I was just showing here. This is I'm logged in from SSH, but this is the page, and it is just our pictures and the same thing that you saw. So yeah, that is our presentation, and thanks to the help of our teammates, and we'll submit this link and assignment to everyone. Thank you very much.